Now if you were to take a look at this bonus shoot in our final Puggle application, you'll see that it does two things that are kind of magical that we haven't seen yet in the Box2D environment. The first thing, of course, is that this shoot moves left and right, seemingly under its own power. It's not really responding to the laws of physics. And the second thing is that when I shoot these balls, you'll see that if the ball lands in the middle of the chute, it disappears as if it were going into the chute, and the system is somehow able to detect that this ball has collided with the middle of the chute. But then if our ball hits the sides of the chute, which maybe if I can aim correctly I can show you, there we go, you'll see that it bounces off of it like any other object in our Box2D environment. So let's look at how to do these two things next. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a new symbol that we will call our bonus shoot graphic. We'll enable it to be exported for ActionScript. It will be a sprite. Okay. And let's import to stage. Basically, here's a graphic that I created in Photoshop. It's totally awesome, as you can tell. You know, feel free to create your own as long as it sort of vaguely mirrors this. I'm going to actually, I think, maybe center this so that instead of being at 0, 0, let's put it at minus 83.5 and minus 12.5. All right, there we go. Now, as with all other actors, this is going to be a costume that will represent the graphical look of it, and then I'm going to create a physics body that will be probably a simpler representation of this. Here, let's just kind of draw what I'm going to do here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to maybe create, say, one triangle that will represent this left side of the chute that we're bouncing off of. I'm going to create a rectangle that will represent essentially the middle portion of our chute. And then I will create a triangle for the right side, something that probably looks pretty close to this. Now you may be wondering, this kind of looks like just one giant convex polygon. Couldn't I create this as one shape? And the answer is, yes you could if this were going to be a solid object, but we're going to be doing something kind of special with this center rectangle, so it's probably important to make it a separate shape so that we can distinguish it from the left and right sides of the ramp that we're going to bounce off of. So now that we've got our awesome bonus shoot graphic, and again, feel free to create your own as long as it's somewhat close to what I have, let's start work on the actor. I'm going to create a new actor, or I'm going to create a new class that is called, let's call it the BonusChuteActor, which will extend actor. Like with our other actors, we'll probably want a parent that will display the costume in. Actually, you know what? Let's pass in just a couple more variables here that we won't use now, but we'll probably use later. We'll use sort of the left bounds, the right bounds, and the Y position. Like I said, we'll probably use these later when we want our chute to move left and right. But for now, what we're going to do is most of the steps we were doing when we created our other actors. We'll add in our graphic that we can use. For our costume. And now I'm going to create the shape definitions for the triangles that go on the left and right side and the rectangle that's in the middle. This will be probably fairly boring and tedious, and you'll watch me go back and forth between here and my Flash application so I can eyeball the coordinates. So maybe rather than listen to me type, I'll give you some more music.
Angels and ministers of grace, come defend who's been praying. I've found you listening, please. You're not above my suspicions. You're a lamb and serpent just like me. It's more than just superstition. Then suddenly I'm finding out that it's me you'll be taking down with you. Hands on the altar for a charming spell. Be sincere with persuasion. Go ask your goddess if you served her well. She'll be climbing higher now. Hands on the altar for a charming spell. Go ask your goddess if you served her well. She'll be climbing higher now. Tie a knife with a ribbon, with a red ribbon. Raise a hand, held mirrors with the light of the moon. With a secret garden and a heart, fun garden struck a specter, sparking with a ritual brew. Book and candle is natural to those pure and simple. Tie a knife with a ribbon, with a red ribbon. Tie a knife with a ribbon, with a red ribbon. Don't try your magic spells on me. I know you've been crystal gazing. You say your boots are southerly. Where you go, I'll be waiting. Hands on the altar for a charming spell. Be sincere with persuasion. Go ask your goddess if you served her well. She'll be climbing higher now. Hands on the altar for a charming spell. Go ask your goddess if you served her well. She'll be climbing higher now. Be sincere with persuasion. She'll be climbing higher now. Be sincere with persuasion. She'll be climbing higher now.
Okay, so a few notes about what we just did here. Number one, you will notice that I remembered to create all of my polygons in a clockwise fashion. That's important, don't forget to do that. Number two, you'll notice I set density to 0. This is a temporary thing. I'll be making it something like 1 later so we can move it around. But for now, I figure it's probably best to keep it a static shape so that we can test some collision before we have to deal with the messier logic of moving this thing back and forth. And number three, the music you were listening to is one of my favorite bands from the 90s that nobody's ever heard of. It's a band called Splashdown. They never really made it as big as I think they should have, which is too bad because I think their music's cool. But here's an interesting bit of trivia. One of the guys in the band went on to become the audio director for Harmonix, which is the company that developed such hit musical games as Guitar Hero and Rock Band. So I guess that's kind of cool. But anyway, let's go on to creating the rest of our shape. First thing we're going to do is we're going to create our body definition. And this will allow us to position our body at the best starting point. And I think maybe for now I will place it in between our left bounds and our right bounds, those parameters we passed in. So I guess we'll take our left bounds and our right bounds and divide by 2, and then we'll take this whole thing and divide by a ratio. And our y value will be this y position parameter that we've passed in. And then we can create our body simply by taking this body definition and passing it into our world. Now this is the first body that we've created that's actually made up of more than one shape. Creating a body of multiple shapes is actually very easy. All you have to do is call the create shape function as many times as you need to. So I'm going to call create shape using the left ramp shape definition. And then I will use the right ramp shape definition. And then I will use our center hole shape definition. Once I've done all of that, I can call set mask from shapes. Maybe technically not necessary at this point because the density is 0, but I'll be changing that later. It's always a good idea to call it. And then I can call our super. Maybe I'll just hit F6 and make sure that this doesn't crash or anything. Okay, that's good so far. By the way, does your version of Flash ever do this where like Flash shows up behind your output and properties windows? Drives me crazy. I can't figure out. Look at that. That's just weird. I can't figure out what's going on there. But anyway, I'm not here to complain. Let's jump back to our main Puggle application and add this actor to our world. And probably the best place to do that is within this create level function in our main Puggle class. So I'm going to jump down to the bottom of this, and I will create my bonus shoot, which will be a BonusChuteActor. This will be the parent, and I guess for now we'll make the left bound something like, I don't know, 200, the right bound something like 450, and we'll place it down near the bottom of our application at, say, 580. Cool. And one other thing we can probably do, let's go back to our application and delete these guidelines that are covering up our awesome Photoshop graphic. I'd hate to have that hidden from the world. And I think we can run it, and this should all work. Well, alright, if Flash were acting normal, there we go, you'd be able to see that my shoot is now down at the bottom of our application. We'll send a few balls down there, and as you can see, there's nothing all that special about it yet. It really just looks and acts like any other static object, and that's because that's basically what it is. It's a static object. What we'll figure out how to do next is take this center of our bonus shoot and turn it into something special. That's coming up.